I found out my wife was cheating on me the day I autopsied her lover. Literally, I was standing over a cold body in a morgue operating room, under harsh white lights that always make your eyes ache, thinking only one thing. Why does this unknown man have my wife's necklace on his chest? The shift started like any other. A night crash, male, around 40. No documents. The car left the road, hit the guardrail. The driver died before the ambulance arrived. The body was brought to me close to midnight, unidentified, as we say. No wallet, no phone, nothing at all. I'm used to cases like that. I'm used to death in general. In 15 years as a pathologist, I've seen bodies in every condition, fragile, broken, destroyed beyond recognition. And every time I think the same thing, it's strange how quickly a person turns into a body. I turned on the recorder, dictated the date, case number, estimated age, male, approximately 40 to 50 years old, average build, and opened the refrigeration unit. He lay there calmly, as if he were sleeping. Those eternal words, as if asleep. The impact had been severe. The face was mostly intact, but the chest was crushed. I leaned in to remove the clothing, and that's when I saw the chain. A thin silver chain. A small rectangular pendant. I froze. For about 10 seconds, I just stared at the metal strangely reflecting the white light. My wife had a necklace like that. I gave it to her myself. On our 5th anniversary. She laughed back then, said, "It's too serious for me. I lose everything." But she never took it off, never. I pushed the thought away. The world is small. Jewelry is mass-produced. Thousands of women have identical pendants. But something inside me had already shifted. A feeling that made me want to wash my hands, even though I hadn't touched anything yet. I removed the chain and flipped the pendant over. On the back, scratched in uneven letters, was L plus K 12.05. I scratched those letters myself with a coin. Lucas and Kara. Our first trip to the sea. A stupid romantic gesture. No one else knew that story. I felt the cold of the morgue finally reach me. Then, strangely, I felt hot. Even though the temperature in that room never changes, I kept speaking into the recorder automatically. But the words turned into noise because in my head there was only one question. Why was Kara's necklace on the hairy chest of a stranger I was about to cut open and describe? To be honest, our marriage had been cracking for a long time. No drama, no screaming matches, just a long stretched out letter. Later we'll talk. Later we'll travel. Later we'll figure it out. Kara worked as a nurse in a private clinic. Night shifts, overtime exhaustion. Me in the morgue. Permanent cold, paperwork, reports. We learned how to live in parallel. In the morning I left while she was sleeping. At night she came back when I was already face down in the pillow. We exchanged text messages, short, like war reports. Buy milk. I'll be late. Did you feed the cat? I noticed. She started acting strange about 6 months before that night. She checked her phone more often and turned the screen face down when I walked past. She laughed at messages. But when I asked, "What's that?" she said, "Oh, just the girls in the group chat." The girls were texting her at 2 in the morning. She became more attentive to herself, not to us, not to the house, not to me, but to herself. New perfume. New earrings, different lipstick. When I brought her coffee to bed after a night shift, she smiled. But there was something strange about that smile, as if she wasn't really there. Absence, a ghost. I saw all of it. I just didn't want to put the pieces together. Or maybe I felt I didn't have the right to because I was the husband who was always busy with the dead, not the living, as she once threw in my face during an argument. I placed the chain on the metal table. My hands were shaking. The official procedure demanded one thing: log the item, hand it over to the investigator. But something inside me snapped. Emotion flooded in. Procedure is one thing. My wife's necklace is something else entirely. I covered the pendant with a napkin, as if that made it less real. Then I did something I had no right to do. I postponed the autopsy. I told the orderly I'd start with another body. I needed time. Time to invent a logical explanation for what I had seen. Maybe she lost the necklace. Maybe someone found it. Maybe they gave it to someone else. Or, the most poisonous option, she gave it away herself. I went outside to smoke. I hadn't smoked in 5 years, but that night I bought cigarettes from the vending machine in the hallway. The lighter trembled in my fingers. The flame flickered in the air. I still could have pretended I hadn't seen anything. Just put the necklace into an evidence envelope, like protocol demands, and wait for the investigator to collect it. But something else was already moving inside me, dark, heavy. I wanted the truth, even if it destroyed me, crushed me, chewed me up from the inside. I went back into the morgue about 10 minutes later, and I started working mechanically without thought. Incision, ribs, organs, my hands. My hands remembered the job better than my head did. The report was clean, professional, injury incompatible with life, massive blood loss, instant death. But there was one thing I did not write in the report. On his left forearm there was a barely healed scratch, exactly the same one Kara had 2 weeks earlier. Back then, she said, the cat scratched me, but our cat had lived with us for 10 years and had never touched her. He preferred to scratch only me. I remembered that line too well. Thin, red, with a small curve near the wrist. The world narrowed to 2 lines of skin, hers and his. For the first time in many years, I felt nauseous. Literally. I took off my gloves, went into the break room, and sat down on a chair. Then I grabbed the work phone and called traffic control. I asked if there was any information about that crash. The car was found on the shoulder, a voice said. The documents burned. We'll restore the number via VIN. We'll identify the owner by morning. Why do you ask? Just for the report, I said. Just for the report. And to find out whose body I was holding in my hands while my wife's necklace was lying in the pocket of my lab coat, slowly burning a hole through the fabric. Kara wasn't home. The hallway rack was empty. Her jacket, the one she always hung there, was gone. A note blinked on the fridge. Night shift. Don't wait. I sat at the kitchen table and stared at that piece of paper for a long time. Don't wait. Usually she wrote, don't wait, I'll eat at work. Or, don't wait at work. Or, don't wait, I'll be home by 8. This time, just don't wait. I opened the drawer where her jewelry box always was. The necklace wasn't there. I knew what I was doing was disgusting, invading her privacy. But when your world suddenly bursts like a blood bag under pressure, you grab any proof you can. Kara's phone was lying on the bedside table. She never forgot it, a nurse's habit, always stay reachable. I picked it up. My fingers found the fingerprint on their own. Yes, I knew her password. Yes, she knew mine. And yes, we had never used that against each other. Never. Until that night. The screen lit up. Chats, messengers, social media. The first thing I noticed was a pinned conversation at the top. No name, just one emoji, a black heart. I opened the thread. Kara, I'm here. Watch your surroundings. He might come back early. Are you sure you don't want him to know? He doesn't know how to live with the living, only with the dead. I love you. I love you too. The last message was sent 3 hours earlier. I'm on my way. Wait for me. There was no reply from Kara. I sat on the edge of our shared bed and felt the floor cracking beneath my feet, and black darkness flickering inside those cracks. It felt like just a little more, and the house would collapse into the ground, along with the pale green walls, the children's drawings on the fridge, and the photos from the seaside, where we're laughing together. Two people who no longer exist. I went back to the morgue before dawn, printing reports, signing papers, pretending everything was normal. Inside, it felt like I was wearing someone else's lab coat, typing someone else's report, signing someone else's name. At 8 in the morning, the investigator called. "We identified the owner of the vehicle," he said. "The name is Graham Ethan." My mouth went dry. "His wife identified him," the investigator continued. "She says he had a lover, a nurse from your clinic, by the way. She's coming in to give a statement. The last name is Stevenson Kara. Same last name as yours," he added casually. I held the phone with both hands, otherwise I would have dropped it. When Kara came home that evening, I was sitting at the kitchen table. I hadn't slept for almost 24 hours, but there was no fatigue, no drowsiness, only a cold, even calm, icy. She opened the door quietly, as if she were afraid to wake someone. She set her bag down, took off her jacket, looked at me, and for just a second, she flinched. In her eyes flashed that same look I'd seen for years in the faces of relatives of the dead when they're handed clothes with a tag on them. "You're not on duty?" she asked. "No," I said. My voice sounded 20, foreign, cold. "I'm free." She walked into the kitchen like across a minefield, carefully choosing where to step. She turned on the tap and started washing her hands, long, thoroughly, like after surgery. I placed the necklace on the table. She froze. The water kept running. Kara turned off the tap, slowly turned around, and saw the pendant. The same one, ours. Her fingers trembled. "Where did you get this?" she asked quietly. "From the chest of the man I autopsied last night," I said. "Graham Ethan, your patient." The word lover wouldn't come out. It got stuck. She sat down on the chair as if her legs had given out. At first I thought she'd start explaining, lying, inventing stories about a friend, a co-worker, someone she was just helping, but no. She just stared at the necklace and stayed silent. The silence was worse than any scream. It pressed in, squeezed my temples, pulsed through my entire body. "How long?" I asked. "How long?" She blinked. 2 years, she said. Somewhere music was playing. Someone was laughing. I stood there thinking, if I step over the railing right now, who will write the report? Who will autopsy me? When I came back inside, I saw Kara's things, some of them already packed in a suitcase. She looked up. "I'll go to my sister's," she said quietly. "You need space, time." "I do too," I nodded. Not because I wanted to, but because I didn't know what else could be done. When she left, the door slammed the way doors slam in movies when a character leaves forever. In real life, I noticed they usually close much more quietly. 3 days passed. I went to work. Mechanically autopsied bodies wrote reports. My hands worked perfectly. My head felt like it was wrapped in thick fog. The necklace lay in the pocket of my lab coat. I carried it with me like evidence, like proof that none of this was a dream, that all of it really happened. On the 3rd day, a woman came to the morgue, short, neat, wearing a strict coat. In her eyes a fatigue I had seen before in Kara's. "Are you Lucas?" she asked. "Yes." "I'm Ethan's wife," she said. "They told me you performed the autopsy." I nodded. She handed me an envelope. "These are his belongings." "She saw his belongings," she said. "For some reason they gave them to me. There's a necklace inside. A woman's. I thought maybe you might know who to return it to." I slowly took the envelope. Inside was indeed a necklace. Another one. Exactly the same as Kara's pendant, only with a different engraving, E+M 2010. In that moment, I understood what symmetry in betrayal looks like. He had a wife. He had his own life, his own home, his own promises till death do us part. And somewhere in that triangle, 2 women and 2 men were probably convinced they were suffering more than anyone else. "Did you know," I asked her, "about the nurse?" She pressed her lips together. "I suspected," she said. I just didn't want it to become true. I nodded. We were very similar. That evening, I came home and for the first time in 3 days turned on the lights in every room. I took off my lab coat, washed it, took the necklace out of my pocket and placed it on the table. I had two paths. I understood that clearly, accepted it. The first, to turn this story into one more cold report, to write it in my head. Wife cheated, lover died, marriage died, period. To get used to it. The way you get used to the smell of formaldehyde. But the smell of formaldehyde never really leaves. It stays for life. The second path, to do the thing I'm most afraid of. To try living not with the dead, but with the living, even if those living people are the ones who betrayed me. I took my phone and sent Kara my first message since everything happened. We need to talk, not about him, about us. She didn't reply right away. About 10 minutes later, she wrote, "Okay, I'll come tomorrow morning." Part 7, final voiceover, English, with pauses. I didn't know what I would say. I didn't know if I was capable of forgiving. I didn't know if I even wanted to forgive. But suddenly I understood one simple thing. The most terrifying part of infidelity is not that you're being lied to. It's that for the first time in many shared years, you're forced to look at your own life as closely as I look at bodies under the morgue lights, without anesthesia, without self-deception. I don't know how this story will end. Maybe we'll divorce and become strangers who sometimes remember each other like a difficult case from practice. Maybe we'll stay together after a long, dirty, painful conversation, where not only her lies will have to be cut open, but my guilt too. For years of silence, for escaping into the world of the dead, where everything is calm and predictable. But one thing I know for sure, that night, when I stood over the table and removed the pendant with my initials from another man's chest, it wasn't only Ethan Graham who died. The Lucas, who believed that betrayal was always about someone else, died too. And if you're watching this video right now and thinking, this could never happen to me. No, I thought that too. Until the night I autopsied my wife's lover.